Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, how you doing today? We have the Detroit Sports Alliance pregame show. Originally, it was supposed to be on Mr. Luke G's channel, but technology is getting in the way. He is out of power, but he's still a trooper. He is here today. So before we hop into all the topics, let's go ahead and introduce everybody. We got the man of the hour, the guy who technology hates, Mr. Luke G. How's it going, man?
Man, it's going good, man. Again, I apologize to everybody. Did not expect to have a power outage, but evil has a way of trying to block you.
Now, Mike, I don't have a good intro for you like you have the intros. That's your thing. But how you doing, Mike?
I am doing great. I'm having fun, and I am ready for the Lions to play the Minnesota Vikings and to make up for that loss that we had last week.
Absolutely.
All right, Luke, your time to shine, man. What you got for us today?
All right, man. Listen, again, ladies and gentlemen, just want to let y'all know, again, apologize for the late change, but this is one of the benefits of having brothers who can have your back. So when things go crazy, they can pick up the baton and keep the show running. But let's talk about this Detroit Lions game, man. It's a very big game today. The Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. We are at home, people. I repeat, we are at home. But it got me to thinking, Drew and Mike, and the first thing that came into my mind is, do the Lions need any more motivation to play better and to be better? I mean, they've already gotten all the disrespect they can get from the outside media source, the national media source, the referees, you name it, they've gotten it. Do they need any more motivation to show up and show out for this game? We'll start off with you, Drew.
Absolutely not, man. Especially after, if you want to say the Lions should have scored more touchdowns or got screwed over by the refs, that should be enough motivation of itself. But you got players who can barely make the practice squad, who are on the team due to injuries, saying that this is an easy win. I mean, you have to take what the media is saying as motivation. If not, then you don't deserve to be here. Matt Patricia has gotten these guys ready to play every single game. I expect it not to be different. We should get off to a pretty good start. But really the problem with this team is closing out the games. That's what I'm more concerned about. So hopefully the motivation can go through halftime into the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I agree with you. When you got people who are upset that they didn't get signed to a contract on the team, i.e. one Laquan Treadwell, who I said the Lions will look at because he fits the mold of the big receivers with the possession catch type of style. Talking about this is an easy win, it's an insult. It's a straight insult that they are attempting to push for an easy win. And to me, if the Lions need any more motivation, then they shouldn't be a football team. They just shouldn't be a football team. If you need any more motivation from the Gridiron Heights video where they said the Lions is a tragedy, not a comedy, to the national media basically putting it off on you, you shouldn't be a football team. But what say you, Mike?
When it comes to talking about this subject, let me first go into the roll call. What up, Doe Big Take? What up, Doe Devin99? The General View, Mr. Kyle Webb himself. D Map Zoom, Adam Bucart. Welcome to the show, folks. If you are one pride, if you are a Detroit Lions fan through and through, please do me a giant favor and hit that like button. Show me that you are one pride. Show a thumbs in the chat as well so we understand that you're the one who did it. Let's get those likes up, folks. As well, what up, Mars Landing? I'm about to go on my rant here in a little bit, but you popped in. But when it comes to motivation, I think it's imperative to look at all the avenues of what's taken place in the matter of 1 week. The Lions got really screwed over by referees. That was the fire that really drove at them. It was very frustrating for them. They came out motivated, say Detroit versus everybody. Then you got players on another team saying that it's going to be an easy win. Okay, let's go ahead and add that to the fire. Then you got the national media destroying the Lions like they always do with the same old Lions stuff. And of course, you got the players themselves that they're absolutely ready to wreak havoc because being 2-2-1, they need a little more motivation to win this NFC North. And by beating the other team and showing the world that no one's picking the Lions, let's go ahead and get that W, is a little more motivation. Do they need it? No, they should be fired up absolutely right now and to wreak havoc. But hey, I'm ready to see the game. I'm ready for them to show what they got going on. I wish I could be in the locker room there to give them a fired up speech. Can't do it, but I think they'd be good to go when it comes to motivation.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like I said, the motivation is there. The NFL looked you in your face on Sunday, smacked you and peed on you and told you it was raining. And so if you need anything else to be better, we got to start to question some things and ask ourselves, is this a real football team? But that brings me to this next point. What do the Lions got to do? And what do they got to do, or how should they go about attacking the Vikings on offense and on defense? We start off with you, Mike. I mean, how should they go about this?
Again, I always go back to the trenches. You got to be able to stop the run and you got to be able to run the football. Cook is a fantastic running back. This may be the best running back we have faced all year long. The Lions been getting gashed when it comes to the running game. I think we got Deshaun Hand back in here, so we got to be able to stop the run, force Kirk Cousins, the Minnesota Vikings offense, to beat us in the air. We know our secondary is really good, so that's not what they want to do. They want to run the ball. And of course, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, we need to run the football. It's imperative to run the ball to help Matthew Stafford out so he does not have to win the game with his arm like he does every single week, every single year. We got to get Kerryon Johnson fed that ball. We got to get the balls not just going straight down the middle. You got to get on the outside. You got to do a little bit of trickery if need be. But we got to be able to run the football and stop the run, and that's how you win.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're repeating the same sentiment that we've said all season. I mean, this is a Detroit Lions team that should have been undefeated right now, like with no losses, if they just figure out those little things. And to me, to stop them on offense is simple: stop Cook, and offense should be dead. Kirk Cousins has struggled to find his targets. So you take away that run game, put all the pressure on Kirk Cousins to have to be the star, and let him be the one-dimensional team. On defense, we simply have to run the ball. We can't sit up there and pass all game because they have the weapons to generate pressure on the quarterback. So to me, running the ball is huge, and we got to start utilizing all our weapons. We got to see more Jesse James. We got to see more Ty Johnson, more Danny Amendola, more Marvin Jones. We got to start utilizing our weapons. And on defense, we got to blitz more. Period, point blank. If I'm not going to get the pass rush from my 3-down linemen, even though we want to keep sending those three, then send some blitzes that's going to get after the quarterback. But what say you, Drew? I mean, how do the Lions go about attacking the Minnesota Vikings? Whether it be offensive or defensive, if not both.
I think you guys are hit pretty close. You have to stop Delvin Cook. You cannot let him run wild on you like he was Hulk Hogan. You have to calm him down, limit his touches the best you can, stack the box, and really make Kirk Cousins beat you. Because believe it or not, this is a big game for Kirk Cousins. Media really hasn't been talking about that much because most of their focus has been recapping Green Bay versus Detroit. But this is a key NFC North battle right here. I believe they said whoever wins this game, and if Chicago loses today, they will be number 2 in the division. So we cannot afford to go 0-2 in the division. This is a must-win game for Detroit, and you have to make Kirk Cousins beat you. This secondary's played very well this year. I just don't see Kirk Cousins having a big game. Now, that being said, with all the drama between Diggs and whatever's going on over there, Diggs got 3 touchdowns last week. So if they're coming into his zone, Thielen and Diggs are a pretty good duo, but it's on to Kirk Cousins to find them. And if he's getting pressure on him, you take away his run game, he's going to have a difficult time finding those 2 guys, which that should be music to our ears. Offensively for the Lions, you have to mix it up. Stop running the ball straight up the middle with Kerryon Johnson. Get him to the outside. Give him in space. Allow him to create something, man. This guy's a playmaker, and if you're running him up the middle, you just limiting his big play capability. More screen passes. Use your receivers the way you're supposed to use them. Take some shots down the field and stop playing so conservative. I expect a couple trick plays here from Detroit.
Yeah, and to me, this is one of them games where, for me, everything that we're hitting on, it seems like we're repeating this every week because the Lions, they get there, they do it one week, and then that's what they don't. That comes part of the consistency. and it has to change. It has to change because what's going to happen is the Lions are going to be put in a situation where if they're not performing up to par and they're not doing their part, we're going to constantly find ourselves behind the eight ball. This team is too good to do that. You know what I mean? Like, we can't keep putting ourselves behind the eight ball. And, to me, for the Lions to get this game, there has to be a clear-cut focus. It has to be a clear-cut focus. And that's up on the next question. What must the Lions focus on to get this win? What must they do? So I'll start it off because for me, it's clear. You got to utilize all your weapons, every single one. Bring out Ty Johnson. Put in, the people we have not seen on the field. Okay, throw in the Jesse James when you in the red zone. Come out in 11 personnel. They're not doing a lot of this stuff that they should be doing that would allow for us to have a win. And when they're not doing that, that's where a lot of the problems are coming in at. That's where a lot of the issues are coming in at. Now, what say you, Mike?
Okay, so when it comes to what needs to be done and things to correct, first off, ignore the comment that was just shown. I just seen in there. Ignore it. I'm going to go ahead and remove the person in a moment right after I get to speaking this question here. But when it comes to what the Lions need to do, it's imperative to understand that they need to focus on themselves. How can they do better? What do they need to do? What is one thing that's been plaguing the Lions so far this year? And that has to do with penalties. They have to correct the penalties. When it comes to the offense, every time a flag is thrown, the offense stalls. It's imperative for the offensive line and the offensive general to not get flags. Do not false start. Do not do holding. Be squared away in that sense. You have to be disciplined. If you can't be disciplined, you're not going to beat teams, and you will leave it to the referees to screw over. We have to do better, and it's an imperative that we start today with correcting these errors. When it comes to defense, stopping the run. How many times do I have to say this? That to me, that's the biggest idea. Stop the run. If they can do that and correct the flags and the errors that's taking place, then they should be good to go. It's a home game. The crowd is going to be very loud. It's going to be harder for the offense of the Minnesota Vikings to get their play calling in. And for us to succeed, we have to be loud and we have to be sound when it comes to discipline.
Yeah, I mean, the discipline is a key word for me. The lack of discipline with this team has been there at times, but you make the points of being able to just do the small things. Even when you look at the comments from the chat with this whole running a dive play and running a dive play again and then running up the middle, they got to start to get the ball outside. So, Mike, you ain't said nothing that's crazy. You ain't said nothing that's crazy at all. Also, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you do hit that like button on the channel. Let's get this video in circulation, and it helps build this community. We need you guys word of mouth to build this community, okay? So what we need from y'all is when you guys are on other YouTube channels, like the Detroit Lions channel, like the Pro Football Focus is, the ABC Sports, those channels, put it out there to the other fans who are Lions fans on those topics. Hey, go over here to the DSA. Also, check the description out. You will see each member from the DSA linked. And you want to subscribe to those people because we're going to be able to do our show. And last but not least, again, make sure that you subscribe to everybody because this thing definitely rotates between channels. And Drew was able to jump in and save the show today because I had a power outage. So definitely get those likes up, people. But Drew, I mean, what should the Lions focus be on, man? What should it be?
I mean, you just have to focus on your game. You can't worry about trying to play Minnesota's game because, I mean, we're trying to play like Minnesota. That's what's our ultimate goal. Minnesota likes to run the ball and play tough defense, and that's what Matt Patricia's trying to incorporate here. Unfortunately, we haven't got the run game going the way that we have wanted it to yet. So That being said, you have to play through Matthew Stafford still. He is still going to be your best player. And when you pay this guy so much money, he has to be your best player week in, week out. There was missed opportunities last week. You cannot afford to go in the red zone and settle for field goals. You have to capitalize on those opportunities, especially against a defense that is super, super tough. And this is going to be a good practice to see how well you can score against the Chicago Bears, who this Bear defense is still better than Minnesota's, but Minnesota's is not chumpish at all. So it's going to be a very hard-fought game. Limit the turnover battle. Try to win that if you can. Limit the stupid penalties. Don't get 12 men on the field, and you should be A-okay.
We can't. We definitely can't have the 12 men on that penalty. To me, man, that penalty to me it irked me because one of my biggest issues with past coaching was go to that. I remember a few years ago we was playing the Baltimore Ravens, and it was like a third down play or something, or maybe it was a fourth. I can't remember, but I remember it was a crucial down, and it was only 8 or 9 players on the field, and I'm like, how do we keep having this happen? So you are not lying about that. The penalties got to be minimized. The discipline and making sure that we get the right personnel on the field and the right personnel off the field needs to be cleaner and quicker. And I know it's a lot going on in the game, but Drew, you hit on some things that really brought up some old war wounds for me. And it's just it got to be better. We got to be better at all facets if we're going to be able to pull this out. So let's just get right into the details of the game, though. Who needs to have that big game, that really big game for the Lions to win this game? Like, who on the Lions need to have that big game? We start off with you, Drew. Who's that guy?
I think if you want to win these games, your running game has to have a big impact. So Kerryon Johnson, Ty Johnson, McKissick, I think that's how you say it. I think I did better than you on saying that, Luke, but I don't want to throw it.
Yeah, no, listen. You ain't gonna get no argument out of me. What you're not gonna do today is embarrass me today trying to pronounce people's names. You know I'm bad at it.
I'm right there with you, bro. But no, you have to establish this run game and get it going. And what better way to get it going against a great run stop defense in the Minnesota Vikings? Plus, it helps Stafford out. You take the pressure off of them. You keep the defense guessing. It limits the blitzes you have to see, which the Lions have been getting blitzed quite a bit lately. So it would be nice to see some kind of draw plays, just running it to the outside, carrying it open space, seeing what he can do against Minnesota. But I think the run game needs to be established here pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think you point out some more stuff that we just, it's like beating a dead horse, man. But you're right. They're going to have to be able to shut that down. For me, the person who needs to have a big game is going to be Snacks Harrison. Because A-Shine by himself, cool. Snacks and A-Shine on the same page to stop this run and make this team one-dimensional, that's a whole other ballpark. If you stop that run and kill the run of one Cook, oh my God. And now you're saying that Kirk Cousins going to have to beat you with his arm. I feel confident in that matchup. I feel confident in putting them in that situation for us to do our part. If our D-line at all can even just get a push, because Kirk Cousins is not mobile, he's going to have a problem. So to me, I need Snacks to wake up today. This is the game where Snacks, if you're listening, and I hope you're not, because I hope you're preparing for the game, but if you're listening,
and what better way to prepare for the game than watch the Detroit sports?
I'm just saying, right? And if you are, I need you today. We need you today. The fans need you today, and we need you to be real hungry. Like we need you to need a Snickers plus a Mr. Good bar. I need you today, because that's going to change the whole dynamic of it. Okay, that's going to change it. It opens you playing the way that needs to be played, opens up everybody else, hands down. And that's not even me being like funny. So for me, I want to see on the defense, I want to see Snacks get in, and then on offense, I just simply want to see our weapons on the field. I don't care who it is. Put them out there. Give them a shot, and let's see what they got. But what say you, Mike? I mean, who needs to have that big game? Who's the guy that needs to come out and have an absolute big game?
First off, folks, we have 49 in the chat right now with 28 likes. Please hit that like button. If you are a big fan of the Lions and you are one pride, hit that like button. Show us how much you are. As well as, man, if you think the Lions are going to win, hit that like button. If you think the Vikings are going to win, guess what? Hit that like button. So
Right.
leans to hitting that like button. When it comes to individuals having a big game, this one's fairly obvious to me, and that is the referees. They must have a good game because, look, the game they had last week was atrocious. But let me get back to the Lions football. I just want to kind of throw that out there. An individual that must have a big time game today is Matthew Stafford in the red zone. He's got to get that ball into the red zone, whether it be his big targets he's got of TJ Hawkinson, Galladay, Marvin Jones, anyone, Jesse James. We have to get touchdowns. We cannot go ahead and just get field goals. It's imperative to get 7 points, 7 points, 7 points, because look, the Minnesota Vikings can put up points. They're going to get some points here. It's imperative that we combat that with our points of our own. We have to score touchdowns. Touchdowns is the key. Let's get it out of the hands of the referees and force it to get that win without doing field goals, as well as big individuals that need to have a big game is the fans in the stadium. You guys need to be loud. You guys need to be ruckus. You guys need to go insane and make it very hard for Kirk Cousins to call plays. We do that, we're going to get that W, folks, because this is a must-win game, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Now, James Larkin says, I am in love. It says, I am loving this DSA. I am listening while I am building my garage. Keep up the good work, guys. Hey, appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, Mr. Larkins, and make sure that you also subscribe to the members of the DSA. We do this pregame and postgame. The postgame show will be on Micro Mike's channel, so you're going to want to make sure you're over there. So when the game is over from the Lions, the postgame show will be on Micro Mike's channel, where we discuss what happened in the game and no BS, all what actually happened in the game and how the game ended. So you want to be a part of that. I see another message that comes from Crystal Subject. It says, Luke G and Mike, why do the Lions hold on to injured players? Hen has not played all year. Put him on IR. Get someone in there that's ready to play now. Seems like the Lions love to keep and play and pay him. Well, they can put him on IR, but they have a certain time that they can take him off IR. And one of the things is if Hen can slowly heal up and we can still survive without him, they're hoping that he's going to be more beneficial in the playoffs, and they're hoping that he makes it to the playoffs. If he's not healed by a certain time, I suspect that Bob Quinn will do exactly what you say and get rid of him. Hard work and dedication says, does Hen play today? No, Hen is out, but Quandre Diggs is in. Am I right about that, right, Mike?
Correct. You're 100% correct.
Okay.
Quandre Diggs is in the game today, and that's huge for a secondary.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm clear about that. All right. And again, we will give y'all time to ask us any question that you want or that you feel. So feel free to ask it when that time comes up. But let's move it along. I mean, how confident are you that the Lions win this game today? We'll start off with you, Drew. How confident are you?
I'm gonna go about 60%. I mean, I don't know if we should be favorites for this game yet or not, but the only reason I'm not more on that is I have to see how this team's going to bounce back after such a tough loss. You had all the momentum going after that Kansas City game. No one gave you a shot to win, and you only lost by like 4 or 5 points, whatever it was. Had 2 weeks off the bye to prepare for Green Bay, and you didn't play the best game. You still should have won, but you didn't play it. So now you have a shortened week playing from Monday. Now you get to play your normal time on Sunday. Short week. I'm very curious to see how the Lions are going to come out and play. That's the only reason I'm at 60%. I just don't know how much energy they're going to have, and if they're shook, what the case may be. Hopefully it's not that, but they should be higher. But I'm going about 60%.
Yeah, and I know people are gonna probably gun me down for this, but it is what it is. I'm 51-49, 51 that Detroit wins. More, that hit that probable cause more likely than not that they win. Only because of what you said. This short week, I believe this team matches up with us really well. I mean, piece for piece, they really do match up with the Lions really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, I just simply look at the fact that, coming off that emotional loss the week before, they should be a little bit more motivated. But it's been this weird stuff lately with us not utilizing the weapons, and that's been the death of us. I mean, we get down to the red zone and You just bring TJ out there, and I'm like, you got another tight end who's 6'7". That should be jump ball game all day, and we're not utilizing it. Excuse me. We have a running back with speed. We call play action with him. But yet they're giving more touches to McKissick. Hope I said that right. But to me, we have to be able to do it. So for me, I'm gonna go 51-49. My confidence is not as high as it would be. I was more confident that we would beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and we should have. But I was way more confident in those games, in the game against the Green Bay Packers, than I am this one. This is the one team that I've said all offseason that scares me in the division if they figure it out, because they have all the parts that match up with us. What say you, Mike?
Oh man,
how confident are you?
Oh man, I'm not too confident. I'm at 50.01% belief that the Lions are going to win this game. Coming off what happened last week, it's going to be hard. This is going to be a hard game either way. But man, look, we got to win this game. I think that's what the point is here, is they must win it. My issue is the matchups, though, because they can run the football and have not been able to stop the run. And I think if we can do that, that'd be great. But I'm just not confident we're going to be able to stop the run. That's a really bad mismatch for us. And Cook has just been crushing defenses here. But I think what ultimately gives the W is the motivation, the passion. You put an animal in a corner, and you corner that animal, then the only way for it to escape is to just go fierce and insane. And that's just how I feel they're going to win this game. I know that doesn't make sense when you look at player matchups, this, that, and the other, but sometimes, man, you got to have that extra motivation. You got to have something in you that brings out the better part of you. And hopefully that takes care of that today.
Yeah, it's one of them things where, I think I saw this stat that says that Matthew Stafford has never had 100 quarterback rating against the Vikings in like 15 games or something like that. And then it came right after that and said he has been sacked this many times. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. And I just seen where Positively Detroit talked about his biggest fear being his offensive line because of how that defensive line get at us. All these things and these concerns that we have as we look at these games and we try to look at the past games to compare what we just seen from the previous weeks, they all come together. Like if you're coming into this game and you are grossly confident we win this game, bravo to you. I ain't there yet because I'm seeing where we're missing opportunities to put weapons out there that create mismatches, and we're not doing it. So it's one of the things where we have to be able to look at it and say, how do we move this thing along? And that brings me to this next point, which is, and I know it's gonna sound crazy, but who is that player that you just want to see on the field or that needs to be on the field? And by that meaning that they're not hurt, meaning that they actually are not hurt, we're just not using them. Who is that player? We'll start off with you, Mike.
That's easy. Ty Johnson.
Yeah, it gotta be.
I want to see more of Ty Johnson at his speed. I want to see them utilize that, because if he can get past the defensive line, he can really hurt teams because he's so fast. They got to be able to use his speed and his talents for this offense. We got to be able to get that because, look, we need speed. If you look at the first play last with the flea flicker versus the Packers, if that would have been anyone faster than Galladay, that would have been a touchdown. We have not seen that speed. We got to get that speed. Ty Johnson is an individual. I thought, okay, they released C.J. Anderson. We're going to have that Johnson & Johnson, and we are definitely going to do well, but we have not seen him a lot. And I want to see the speed. I want to see hurt defenses. We haven't seen that yet, and that's the guy I want to see.
Yeah, for me, offensively, it has to be Jesse James because we're getting to the red zone, but I'm starting to feel that they're putting too much on T.J. Hockenson. Like the expectation for T.J. Hockenson is great. I'm with it, but they're asking too much of him because if you're going to put him out there and you're not going to put somebody compliment out there to him, knowing that he's a rookie, is like, come on, you got to set the guy up. So I want to see more Jesse James. I want to see more Ty Johnson. On defense, I'm going to be honest. It's not hard to me, but I want to see more And it's gonna sound crazy, but I want to see Jelani Tavai being blitzed more. I just feel like he's there. Do it. Do it. I'm happy that Diggs is back because I can tell you this right now. Another week with Tavon Wilson from what happened from that Green Bay game, I can't take it. I can't. It's so for me, I want to start to see those same names. I want to see the Ties. I want to see the Jesse James. And on defense, I just simply want to see Jelani Tavai be blitzed more. Drew, who's that guy that you just want to see more of on the field? Like he needs to be on the field. I mean, not the guys who hurt, but the guys not hurt. They just not using them.
I don't know if it's necessarily more, but it's about putting him in a better position to be effective, and that's Jesse James. I don't think we're using Jesse James the right way.
Agree.
I think we need to do a lot more of the two tight end sets to spread them out. Now, Jesse James is not athletically gifted as much as TJ Hawkinson, but the dude has steady hands. Like, if you give the ball to him, he's going to catch it. And in the red zone, where we should have been using him against Green Bay and having him and TJ out there, it's a tough to cover. Plus, you can put the run game in there. Both of these tight ends are one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL. And that's a very underrated statistic and stat of how good these guys are doing at that. I mean, you look at what TJ is doing in the run game, going from one side of the field and throwing lead blocks out there. It's really impressive from a rookie. So I think putting these guys in there from the goal line to 20 yards out, putting the two tight end set out there would help both TJ and Jesse look way better in this system and in the scheme that we're trying to get established.
And it puts more pressure on the defense.
Exactly.
Like, who wants to – let's think about this. Think about this. We know Kenny Galladay is 6'4". Jones is like 6'2", right? If you come out in a 3 tight end set with Kenny Galladay at 6'4", Jesse James at 6'7", TJ Hawkinson at 6'4", Logan Thomas, I believe, is 6'5". Who jumping with them? Who are the linebackers at 6'5" and 6'4" jumping with them? And you couldn't have been more right in terms of saying we're just not utilizing him right. We're not. And I think they realized after that first game, like, hey, when he catch a ball, he's not going to get the yak. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Put him on the field. Put him on the field. Because now what you're doing is you're not utilizing all your weapons. You know, where are the stretch plays with Jesse James and Hawk? Where are those plays at? We just running it at the gut. So you're right. I think they need to find ways to get those guys more involved in there. I think Darrell Bevel is doing an amazing job as an offensive coordinator. And I know it's going to sound crazy for a lot of people because we had to deal with the former offensive coordinator. But I'm telling you, sometimes they get too cute. They get too cute. And it's the same thing with the defense. I call it the palm tree defense because all they do is it's like a hurricane. When a hurricane comes, it just leans on over. And when the winds and everything die down, it just stands right back on up. And that's a good thing to have. But the problem is it can only do that for so long. And we need to be able to, like you said, utilize the things that we do have to get it done. And that's where it needs to start at. Now, I look at this team, and early on, I picked them to go 11-5 and win this division. Now, we don't see 6 weeks of football. My question to you, gentlemen, and we'll start this off with you, Mike. Do the Detroit Lions still have a chance to win this division?
Yes, they have a chance to win the division. It just all depends on if they want to start winning and start focusing on their craft. That's imperative for them to take it to the next level. You got to be able to run the football and stop the run. Those are two things that we have not done well so far this year. I do believe that the Detroit Lions make a trade to get a pass rusher. It's imperative for them to do so, and that's what we need to do is rush the passer. It's only been 6 games so far. There's definitely a lot of game to play. The Packers, in my opinion, look, they got a tougher schedule coming up. I know Patrick Mahomes is out, but so many things can happen. Now, if we lose this game here, man, I think that would change my projection. but it's always a possibility. It's too early in the season to say, no, it's not going to happen. How many times have the Lions gone 5-0 in 2011 and we end up winning 10-5? You just never know. You can go on a nice late win streak here and change the course of the season, and teams can go on a lose streak. So we'll see how it is, but we got to start winning today to do so.
Yeah, I mean, even when I go through the comments, man, we look at the different things when it pertains to the team. You can hate me now. Mackenzie says Tavon Wilson didn't want to tackle last week, and that was ridiculous. And James and I don't get why they not throwing him the ball. $24 million. Question marks that make you say, I mean, Foot Clan 004 says, I feel like they holding back our playbook, meaning like we don't want to show our hand. I agree. I noticed that same thing. It's almost like they're just give a little bit. We'll win with this little bit, but we'll save the best for last. And it's like, no, go out there every play and just do what you do best. It should not be this case. But in terms of the question for me, yes, they still should win this division. It starts with today. This will be our second division game, which leaves us with 4. Okay. And if you can go out and sweep the Bears, which I expect you to do, and I expect you to go out and get that last win against the Packers, and I expect you to probably split with the Vikings, be honest. But if you're gonna lose to the Vikings at their house. Don't let it start today. They still get to go out and play a game against the Giants, and they still get to go out and play a game against the Raiders, who am I forgetting? The Redskins. Those are games that you got to look at and say, okay. So for me, yes, we should still win this division. We still should, but we got to start off by getting the win today. What say you, Drew? Do the Lions still have a chance to win this division?
Well, before I hop into that, real quick, I just got an update on my phone. Steve Mariucci's bold take said that he thinks the Lions will get 7 sacks against the Vikings today.
Oh, wow.
What?
I just got an update on my phone. Said Steve Mariucci thinks that the Lions will get 7 sacks, and I
tell you what. I tell you what, they get 7 sacks, and it won't mean nothing if we don't turn those turnovers and those sacks into points. It can't be field goals. We've already experienced that hardship.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, a bold prediction right now is for us to get 4 sacks, more or less 7.
I mean, right?
I'll take
more
3.
Or less 7. Yeah. I mean, 7. And Mariucci, I appreciate the bold, but the key term is bold, and he did go bold with that one. So
right there, capital letters, BOLD.
Yeah, I mean, 7. That's anyway, it's a bold prediction.
Back to your question. Man. Yeah, mathematically, yes, the Lions are still in it. They cannot afford to lose today. If the Lions beat the Vikings will be what, 0-3 in the division? No, did they beat the Bears? I don't remember.
Nope. Yeah. The Vikings will be 0-3. So if the Lions beat the Vikings, they'll be 0-3.
That'd be huge for this NFC division race, not just for the Lions, but for the Packers and the Bears as well, because you can't just count the Packers as the favorite. The Packers have some serious problems. They should have not won Monday. Now, they did not play that much better than the Lions. I don't think either team really deserved to win that Monday Night Football game, but this division's still wide open. There is not a lock to win it. Like I said, man, every team in the division does at least one thing great, and the Lions are a little bit versatile. I don't know if they do one thing great, but they can do a little bit of everything. So who knows, man? The division's still wide open. The Lions still have a mathematical chance. It's not over, man. We're still early in the season. There's still a lot of football left. Anything can happen at this point.
I mean, and you're hitting on the nail on the head, man. I mean, but it also brings us to the point of, what if the Lions lose this game? What does that mean for the Lions season? I mean, talk about that, Drew. We get to a point now where we look up and we lose this game. What does that mean for our season? What does that mean for the division?
I mean, that's going to put a damper on things. I mean, you're talking about Patricia just started to win over this locker room. You go out here and you lose to the Vikings at home. I mean, you're going to really start putting him back on the hot seat after we thought he was winning everyone over so far. You cannot afford to lose this game. That being said, Mike Zimmer is a very great defensive coach. He's going to have a great game plan on Detroit. It's going to be a very tough, hard-fought game, at the end of the day, you can't think like that. You cannot come out here with that loser mentality. You got to put everything behind you. Nothing else to this point has mattered. You have to come out here, start fresh, pretend it's 0-0 as your record. Come out here firing on all cylinders, hold nothing back. You cannot afford to lose this game. If you do, you're going to be hurting, and it's going to be tough to climb out of this hole you're going to dig yourself in. As in losing 3 straight, that cannot happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. For me, if the Lions lose this game, what this means for the season to me is we're gonna need a lot of prayer, people. We're gonna need a lot of prayer and a lot of help. We're gonna need for some people to take some serious injuries. I wish they would have put every team on our division minus the Lions on the Madden cover, because that Madden curse appears to be strong. I mean, how in the hell does Patrick Mahomes dislocate his knee on a quarterback sneak? Okay, so but for me, I'm with you, Drew. They take an L today, man. At home, you're right. It's gonna bring up those talks about Matt Patricia being on the hot seat. It's gonna bring up the issues of the Lions not being the Lions and the same old. It's gonna bring up all that stuff, and to me, this season will be a dub because they can finish strong and finish like 10-5-1, and that probably wouldn't win a division. And that's hard to hear. That a team can get 10 wins and still have a chance to not win a division. Mm-hmm. So what say you, Mike? I mean, a loss to the Minnesota Vikings today at home, what does that mean for our season? What does that mean for the Lions division?
It would mean the Undertaker's music is going to start playing, because if we lose this game today, to me, I'm going to already start looking towards the draft process for next year's draft. It would be very, very difficult for the Lions to make any sort of run for the division after a loss today, because this is at home. This is not at Minnesota. And it would make it very, very hard for the Lions to make a playoff run. And the NFC is so competitive this year. I mean, there is a chance that a team with 10 wins doesn't even make the postseason. That's how competitive.
That's crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. If you look at the 49ers, you look at the Seattle Seahawks, there is a lot of good teams in the NFC North, obviously. So this is going to be very, very difficult. Chris Martin said, y'all no negative comments, just facts, no emotions involved. Talk about the Lions' past record. And look, I don't really care for past records, but if we don't win the game today, that is an indication for me that they are not ready. And you're going to be hearing, again, Matt Patricia on the hot seat. You're going to be hearing a lot of negative commentary about the Lions, because they must win today. Make no mistake about it. This is a game that they must win. If they do not win this game, folks, I'm telling you, man, I don't think they make the postseason for sure. And I'm already going to start going into college and starting looking at some players like pass rushers and get into that indication mode.
If they don't win, basketball season starts Wednesday. So just saying.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and I know that they don't want to hear us talk negative, but we have to be able to see it from all aspects. And the question was posed because it has to be able to be explored, and so that's one of the reasons why we asked the question, to see if it would be explored. Now, Dr. Dirk says, "What do we need to win, y'all? Like, what do we need? We need for them to play a complete game, 60 minutes, beginning to end, and not just settle for field goal." Matthew Stafford said it himself. He says, we got to get more points on the board because he doesn't count kicks. And that to me is huge. That statement is huge, because when you can identify that field goals don't count in terms of scoring, and the respect that we got to do more as an offense, that's huge. I mean, it's a shame that the Lions' all-time leading scorer is Jason Henson. Mm-hmm. That can't be it. We've been kicking too much. Your kicker's the highest leading scorer? What? You know how many quarterbacks we don't have? Matthew Stafford. We have Barry Sanders. How many touchdowns did all these Cowboys combine? And you telling me the highest is Jason Henson? We got to get better. in every aspect of the game for that. And to me, it's one of the things where I want to see them do certain things. So it's challenging at times, but it's one of the things that need to be explored. Now, Mike, how do you classify this team? I mean, is this a good team, a bad team, a terrible team, a mad team? I mean, how would you classify this team?
I classify it into different aspects here. I think the roster is talented. I think what the issue for this team is discipline. They're, for whatever reason, they're not disciplined enough. We are shooting ourselves in the foot with the fumbles and the penalties. They have a roster that can really do well. They need pass rush help and open up the holes on the offensive line. But other than that, they're very good quality players on this team. They just need to be disciplined. I feel if they can be disciplined, then they can win games. But so many times this year, whether it be calling a timeout in the Arizona game, that definitely hurt us. When calling these timeouts and time management is hurting us, as well as flags on the offensive line, stalling drives, flags when it comes to 12 men on the field for a field goal. That's what's hurting us. And like we always say, the hardest thing the Lions got to deal with is themselves, man, because they shoot themselves in the foot, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, now Hater House said the top 20 scorers in the NFL history are kickers. I wonder what teams are those 20 players on. Like, I wonder what teams were those kickers on. Like, I really, because I can go and do the research, and I'm gonna go look it up because I think that's a fun fact. But just in terms of the Lions, man, I never remember a time where we were just a high scoring offense. I just don't remember it. I'm trying to remember it, but it's not clicking for me. So I get that. For me, I look at it like this is a team that is a good team that's underachieving. They are absolutely underachieving. If you just go back and you look at each game, and this can be said for any team, they really handled the Arizona Cardinals up until that second half. Right? That should have been another blowout, beat down game, and end up in the tie. You come home against the Chargers, and they don't have no Derwin James. Hunter Henry is out. Melvin Gordon over there pouting because he's trying to get paid, so he don't play. Mike Williams is playing injured. You mustered 13 points. 13 points at home. Okay, first home game, maybe I'm tripping. You go on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. No Deshaun Jackson, no Alshon Robinson, Lord Jesus, no Alshon Jeffries. And you didn't really put them away. But 2 good wins, nonetheless. Come home against the Kansas City Chiefs. You get to the red zone more times than a kid can get to his toy box. But you don't put the ball in the end zone as much as you like, and you get 2 turnovers on the goal line that really changed the outcome of that game, and you take another loss. You go on a bye week. Come off the bye week, get to the end zone one time.
Hey, I want to make an address here. The weatherman, beginning of the year, Luke was pounding his fist on the table, hollering 11 wins. JMO was hollering how good. And now it's humble pie talk. Here's the deal, sir. With all due respect, when we judge what took place when it comes to the individuals that was placed in the roster by Bob Quinn, he made a lot of positive moves. Right now, the Lions has underperformed when it comes to stats. What do you want us to say? Would you like us to say that, yes, there's a chance that if they lose today, that they're going to win the Super Bowl? It's looking at the stats and seeing that, it is a very uphill climb when the NFC itself is very good. If that is saying, hey, they're not doing well, and that's humble pie in your opinion, that's completely fine with me. If that makes you feel better in a sense that you're trying to dog us or myself, that's perfectly fine. I don't care. It's imperative for the Lions to win today. If they don't, it's definitely going to be a hamper on their season. It's a big-time game. They must get that W. Every time I make a mistake, I am the absolute first one to say I made a mistake when it comes to a prediction or anything of that nature. Right now, if that happens, you'll definitely be looking at reality and say the Lions do not have a chance. It's going to be very hard.
I mean, but here's the thing. Humble pie, mathematically, they could still win 11 games. So humble pie is nothing I have a problem eating. You know, if something happens opposite of what I say, fine. I can't say they're going to go 11-5. They got a tie. But can they still win 11 games? Yes, mathematically. Where does humble pie come in at for me? When they mathematically can't get 11 wins, yep, I'll eat humble pie. My prediction still has a chance to happen. So, you know, I don't know what your prediction is, but my prediction stands to be the same. If humble pie is what I gotta eat, it is what it is. I don't have a problem with that. But right now, mathematically, they can still win 11 games. They got 2 wins. They're going to win today. That'll be 3. They got 2 losses, 1 tie. Okay? That's 7 weeks. They still have more than enough time to get 11 wins. Just saying, hypothetically. But again, Drew, how do you classify this team? Because to me, this team should have been undefeated at this point. And they had some growing pains. But how do you classify this team?
Well, first things first, Nicholas Aaron sent $2. Thank you so much, Nicholas. He says OT Lions win today. I hope so. That would be amazing. Do you guys think the Lions win an OT today?
I don't want it to go to overtime. I think, and I don't think we will go to overtime. I saw a post. I can't remember who said it, and it said something to the fact that it's going to be a blowout one way or the other. Either the Lions blow out the Vikings or the Vikings blow out the Lions. But either way, I don't see overtime coming. I would be surprised if we went to overtime.
What say you, Mike? Do you think the Lions can get it done in overtime?
I don't see it going in overtime. I see this being a last drive game, and I think that it's going to be extremely close. It's going to be a cardiac cat type game. It's going to come down to the last drive, and whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, the Lions pull out the W because, like I said, man, they have no other choice. They have no other choice.
Yeah.
The position that they're in is due to lack of discipline, lack of touchdowns, and obviously referee, and they need to change the narrative time now and get the W.
Absolutely. We also got a 69 in the chat. Giggity, let's get those likes up. Go ahead, Mr. Luke.
Yeah, I mean, and again, man, you know, to Weatherman, listen, I'm telling you right now, I have no problem with the humble pie. I want you. I know he said get the fork out, but if I'm gonna get the fork out, I'm also need some ice cream to go with my pie because I eat my pie with ice cream. So, Luke don't got no problem eating this pie. I'm never proclaimed to be correct about everything. I've missed on a lot of things, but I've been more right than I've been wrong. That is factual. And like I said, it's still a long season. I mean, to show you how crazy this season has been, the New York Giants is 1 game out of being like in first place. It's not like the worst thing for them. They're 2 and whatever, and the highest record is 3-3 or something like that. That's the Eagles and the Cowboys. So, and they're playing today. So they win today. They can easily bump back up to the 2nd place. These division games that come down, those are very important. So the season is far from over. It's just, you know, having a little fun with the open conversation. But yeah, how do you classify the team though, Drew?
It's a good team. No, they're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination at all. They're missing key opportunities. I don't know if it's coaching, if it's the players not just executing the right way, but they're not playing to what they should be. At the beginning of the year, we all had high expectations. Now, I was on the bottom of I said 9-7 was my original expectations, but after the way they played through the first few weeks, I figured they'd be better than what they were. They're not executing to what they should be. That being said, doesn't mean they can't turn it around. There's still a lot of football left. They can still win the NFC North.
Facts.
They just have to turn it around and kick it on all cylinders, and they'll be A-okay, man. This team's got talent across the board. They have talent defensively, secondary, up front, and I think the up front is what upset us the most. They haven't really lived up to their expectation, but if they can get that going, whether it's blitzing more, what say you, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I see we got Abdullah Terrell who just joined the show. What up, though? He said he's from the Flint area. Hey, what do they call what's the short term for Flint? What do they call that? It's not Yaktown, is it? Is that Pontiac? I draw a blank on it, but yeah, he say Flint is in the building. That's the general view. Say Flint is in the house, and he represents the Flint area. So shout out to him. I mean, hey, I'm just saying, the Flint area is strong, man. So it's been 6 weeks, people. We are on week 7. We have had 6 weeks to watch this team, take inventory, and just simply ask this question of, how do y'all feel about the coaching staff at the 6 weeks? Let's start off with you, Mike.
Oh, man. It's a mixed bag, and I can't just say one specific coach, but I want to say, we'll start with special teams. I just feel like, man, he started really, really rough, but he got a lot better. He improved when it comes to special teams coach. When it comes to defensive coordinator, I'm not sure how much Pasqualoni actually does for the defense. I think it's more Matt Patricia's defense. But given the fact that there's no pass rush, I think he's done well with the schematics. I just feel we don't have the talent of rushing the passer. Not sure how much that would really reside on the coach itself for a defensive coach. When it comes to the offensive coordinator, I feel like he's done a really good job mixing plays up and doing well between the 80 yards. But when it comes to the red zone, we're having a little bit of issues here. Other than that, though, he's done a really good job by trick plays, mixing it up with the run and the pass. Unfortunately, I just don't feel the run game is working too well. He needs to correct that. And obviously, red zone, when it comes to Matt Patricia, I feel like his scheme is really good. Like, he can really coach a good scheme against the team he's playing against, but his in-game performance when it comes to clock management, timeouts, etc., has been underperformed, in my opinion. Really, really frustrated me with the 12 men on the field for that special teams play, as well as the timeouts. And to me, that should never happen when it comes to a coach. And I feel like he's leaving some coaching plays on the field, and it's hurting us. He needs to correct it, because if he doesn't, we're going to continue to lose, and he will definitely be on the hot seat.
Yeah, I mean, now we have D. Lilio. It says, if the Vikings can run, they will pass, and Kurt we trust, so he must be a Vikings fan. Hey, man, welcome to the show. Hopefully you stick around for after the show, and if you are, hey, I would love to have you on the post game, win, lose, or draw. So let me know if you're interested. You can always go to any of my videos on Luke G's Field Review. You will see my contact information. I'm on Twitter at Phil G's, and I am on Discord. The link is in my video. So definitely would love to have you, man. Safe haven, to get different perspectives about stuff. So can't beat that. Dr. Dirk says Yaktown is Pontiac. Okay, I always get it confused between that and Ypsilanti. I don't know why. So I feel like I always get those two confused, but it is what it is. For me, my view of this coaching staff at the 6th week is frustration. It is frustration because I don't know how we're not using all our weapons. I don't. If you know what you need for the job, the tools, and you have the tools to get the job done, then at this point, what becomes the problem? Is the problem the tools or the person using them? Like, if I know I need certain tools to change my brakes, and I got every tool I need to change my brakes, but the brakes somehow still don't work, or it's got to be a person installing it. And when I look at the head coach and the offensive coordinator on offense not utilize all our weapons, it's frustrating. And on defense, I'm like Mike. I'm not even sure Paul Pasqualoni do anything. I'm not. Like, I feel like he's just here for moral support for Matt Patricia. And it's heartbreaking because I don't even know if what this team is exactly. Now, I know that everything is still new. They're learning a new offensive system, but that defensive system is in year 2 of the process. And it does not look as good as it did down the stretch of last year. And it's very frustrating for me because I know that this is a good team. I know that this coaching staff is the right staff, to do things, somehow we just keep getting away from the game plan. And I want to get more from them. I want more from them. I demand more. I desire more. It needs to be more for me. So for me, I'm going with frustrating. What say you, Drew? 6 weeks of football has been played. What are your thoughts on this coaching staff?
It's not perfect, but I think we're on the right track with the coaching staff. It's hard to judge this coaching staff because they tore this team down last year and they're rebuilding it. And part of the problem with me and a lot of the other Detroit Lions fans out there is that we got rid of Jim Caldwell, a guy who was getting us 9-7 year in and year out, but even he wasn't perfect. There's hiccups with trying to establish a new culture and identity, communication problems. You have a new offensive coordinator, and him and Stafford are still learning how to coexist with one another and learn each other's language. It's not going to be perfect this season, and it's probably not going to be perfect next season. The goal for the coaching staff is to get better week after week, is to get your communication skills better week after week, and for the players to learn the system better week after week and become leaders of it. And you're seeing Jared Davis become the leader of the defense, calling the plays out and adjusting the defensive front, all that stuff. Matthew Stafford reading the defense offensively, that's supposed to be his job. It's getting better week after week. Execution is the problem. And if you, as a coach, cannot get your players to execute, it is on you because we've seen this team execute. This team has big play capabilities both offensively and defensively. I don't know what's going on these last couple of weeks, but there's a lot of plays that you have left on the table, both offensively and defensively. And you can blame the players, you can blame the coaches, you can blame both of them for all I care. At the end of the day, you can only go as far as your coaches can take you. They put you in the best position to exceed, to make plays, so on and so forth. I give them about a C plus, a B minus so far. I mean, you've
that's fair.
Schemes on how to beat the good teams defensively. I just the pass rush is lacking. Executing in the red zone in the last few weeks has been MIA. All the talent is here for this team to be good, but I don't know, man. It's a mixed bag.
And I think that's a fair question because as we come up on the last question before we take questions from you guys in the chat, I think it's a fair question. It's 6 weeks, it's a 6-week sample size. I mean, so we're almost at the halfway mark. I know George Morgan said he needs 2 more weeks before he can put his thoughts on it, and I'm not mad at him. At a Doodle Terrell, make sure you hit me up on Twitter or make sure you hit me up on Discord, so we can talk. I'm more than willing to have any conversation, so make sure you hit me up on there. And the final question boils down to this, people, because this is something that I have seen in the chat every single show we do. I have seen this question come up repeatedly about trades. Now, wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I have just got word that my power is back on. Praise the Lord.
Hey.
Man.
Hallelujah.
God, yes. So the power is back on. My neighbor just waved to me that the power is back on. Thanks, because they're listening to the show. So shout out to having good neighbors, man, if you got them. Also, make sure you join my Discord because we be in there having all kinds of fun. It is all football. It's no politics. We're not talking about any politics. We're not talking about religion. It's just sports. So make sure you do it. Even if you are not a Lions fan and you want to come in and have a little fun, man, have a little fun. Rocco P said, did you miss a payment loop? Never. Never. I game too much, bro. Hey, listen, all my bills be paid before the month even gets started, bro. I game too much. Nah, I ain't missed no payment. But yeah, I mean, this final question is the one that I've been waiting to hit on, and it's pertaining to what I've been saying in the chat. And that question is, are you disappointed in Bob Quinn that he has not made any moves, trades, or anything to improve the pass rush and to improve the offensive line? Mike, let's start off with you.
Folks, before I get into that, make sure you hit that thumbs up as well. We've got 71 in the chat. Hit those thumbs up. Tell us that you're One Pride so we can go ahead and defeat the mainstream narrative. Like I always say, also, I'm starting my new show Monday through Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And on Wednesday, we'll definitely be talking trade talk. Let's get into this trade because this is a big time thing for me. I do think there's going to be a trade before the trade deadline. And the reason I've been saying this is because Bob Quinn throughout the offseason has been definitely going hardcore when it comes to upgrading this roster. He is playing like he is a general manager who knows he's got to win. I do think they trade for a pass rusher. I'm not sure exactly who it would be. You know, you can talk about the Von Millers of the world, the Chandler Joneses, other individuals, but I do feel that they are going to get a pass rusher before the trade deadline. I will be live during the trade deadline because I just got that feeling he's going to do it. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to give up, but the reason it hasn't happened yet is we know Bob Quinn, he's an individual to make sure that he's not giving up too much. If you look at Jalen Ramsey, team gave up 2 first-round picks. You're not going to see that from Bob Quinn, but we will get a pass rusher to help this team out.
You know, I'm not gonna say I'm disappointed because I believe that he's put enough talent on this team to win now, and I think that that talent needs to be utilized, and the talent that is being utilized need to make sure that they perform. Y'all don't even understand how happy I am that Quandre Diggs is back. I really am telling you this because I believe if Quandre Diggs is in that Green Bay game, those 2 slow runs that went for a long distance that ended up being scores would never happen. So I'm excited for that, but I'm not disappointed because I think one of the things about Bob Quinn is he has always built profiles. It does get frustrating when you see him bring in so many different running backs, as if though like why you bringing so many running backs? But he's also talked to a lot of receivers and a lot of safeties, and I think he's just evaluating things in a way where he can be ready for the offseason as well as be prepared for the playoffs when he needs to. But the disappointment part of it is you know, the team needs to be better. This is a team that he put together that really can win now. So I'm not going to go on the boat of disappointment, but I can understand why many fans would be if they are. What say you, Drew?
No, because the thing about the NFL, it's different from the NBA. In the NBA, there's more trades because you can fit the players better into what you're doing. NBA is not as complicated as NFL schemes. Recently, we're kind of seeing a transition where the NFL is becoming more and more like the NBA in that regard. But it's usually in the offseason where you have time to put someone into what you're trying to do. It's not like our defensive scheme is super complicated. We rush 3 and put everyone back in coverage. We try to run a lot of man. It's really not that complicated. However, you cannot underestimate the value of having salary cap room. You know, we still have some money to spend on some free agents going into next year. I'm not sure if there's going to be any big name pass rushers available. If so, I can guarantee that we're going to make a run at them and try to bring them in here. Who knows who's going to be available at the draft, where our draft's going to be. I don't think that Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia coming from New England really want to put a whole lot of money into older players. That's not really the New England way. New England, they pay people like Brady, who takes pay cuts, but they take Gilmore, who's a top 5 corner in the league, and he's still in his prime. They don't really go out there and pay people over their 30s. So the Von Miller trade probably is not going to be happening, but they'll go into free agency and draft and find the players they want through there and build the team the right way. I don't think that they're rushing or panicking to make anything happen right now. But like I said, man, it's not like the NBA is. It takes more time to fit people into what you're trying to do.
Right. I mean, and I think those are all fair points. I know that I see it a lot that I've had people say they should go out and trade for, and I'm not even trying to pronounce dude's name from the Jacksonville Jaguars, the DN, the something, whatever. I'm not even going to play with his name. But you know, Von Miller ain't going nowhere. Chubb is out for the season. I don't think they're going to dump off on that person in that quick. But at this point, ladies and gentlemen, this is your time to ask us any questions. Now, Drew, make sure you keep those up on the chat so they can see the questions that have been asked, and we'll address them. You can ask me, you can ask Drew, you can ask Michael or Mike. But it's your time. You ask us the questions, and we'll do it. Also, make sure that you subscribe to all the members of the DSA. You have Luke G's Fear Review. That's me. You have Michael Mike. He's the one with the cool military picture right there in the middle. You have Detroit Drew, obviously, because you are here, and this guy is absolutely hilarious. And I'm proud that I made it through this show without dying laughing, because he always says something random that just catches you off guard. You have 313 J-Mo, who is at work today, so that's why he's not with us. But I promise you, he's going to find some way to get on that post game. I promise you that. You have Noble Sports Entertainment. You also have the Big Take, Nomis J, CA3 Sports Talk, Positively Detroit 9071. And you want to make sure that you reach out to every single one of us and hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. Now, here go the first question, and it popped up before I even had a chance to say it, but it says, should we look for Kerrigan and would Yankic, I'm not even going to put up that last name, fit? Yankic from the Jaguars remind me of Trey Flowers. His abilities are dependent upon who's next to him. And you're not going to get too much more. I've watched a lot of Jacksonville Jaguars games because of Gardner Minshew, a guy that the Lions were close to drafting, and Jacksonville jumped up and took him. In terms of Kerrigan, the price tag is going to be the question for me. What do they want for him? You want a fifth? Okay, sure. Anything past that, it's a no-go for me. What say you, gentlemen? What say you, Drew? Kerrigan or Yankic?
I mean, it just depends on the price of what they're asking for. Like, it comes back down to Bob Quinn. I trust Bob Quinn drafting. So if you want to give up a first-round draft pick for some talent, I'm okay with that because you can find people in the later round. But at the same time, like, look at how impactful TJ has been for us. Like, I don't know if necessarily I want to trade the first-round pick with Bob Quinn drafting. So, I mean, it really just depends what everyone wants to get, and that's what it all boils down to. If the price is right, you go for it. If not, you pass on it.
Okay, and what say you, Mike?
Price is right. Don't overpay. I definitely want to see a pass rusher. I definitely want to see a run stuffer. I definitely want to see a big guy open up the hole, but I do not want to overpay. Bob Quinn has got to needle the thread, not thread the needle, when it comes to getting a player acquisition, just like he did with last year's Snacks Harrison. I want him to do that this year, but please do not overpay.
Okay. We got more questions in the chat. Let me see. We got I like this one right here from the general review. I think this is a very interesting. He says, do y'all ever see Stafford taking a Brady route in terms of restructuring his contract to be more team friendly? Yes. Matthew Stafford has done a lot to assist in this team. I suspect that he doesn't stop there. And the older he gets, he knows that if he's going to do what he set out to do here at this team, he has to adjust his contract. So I can see it happening. What say you, Mike?
Yeah, I definitely could see Matthew Stafford doing that. And if you look at him and his whole body of work, you can tell he just wants to win. You could see it in his face. He's getting tired of it. And if that means restructuring his contract to get more viable talent on this roster or to keep talent, I definitely see him doing that. He doesn't seem to me like an individual that's, trying to just get the biggest contract in the NFL, to have an ego like other people like a Dak Prescott or anyone else out there. He is definitely a team player, and I could see that happening. But we got to win, or else, things could definitely change when it comes to Matthew Stafford.
All right. I like this question right here because Mellow Mo points out, he says, do you think Marvin Jones goes off today? He has a history of destroying the Vikings, 9-11 emergency. Okay. It would be nice if he does. I just don't see it happening today because he's a deep threat. They're going to need somebody that's going to be a nuanced route runner today because that pass rush is going to come. So, if he gets off, it'll be because he learned how to run routes underneath versus going up top. And I'm not sure that he would meet that burden. Appreciate the general review for phonetically spelling it for you, Nick. Thank you. Hey. Hooked on, he said, yeah, I got to get Hooked on Phonics name edition. If you know that edition, please give it to me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Guy got jokes, man. But it is what it is. It's a fact thing there. I mean, but what say you, Drew? Do you see Marvin Jones having one of those monstrous days again, destroying the Vikings?
Against the Vikings, I don't know. I think he'll have a pretty decent day, but you look at previous years against when we played the Vikings, Golden Tate always had a huge game. Well, who's our Golden Tate right now is Danny Amendola. I think Danny Amendola is going to be the Achilles heel for this Minnesota Vikings, losing him in coverage and making plays after the reception. I think that he should be a pretty big target for Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions heading into the day.
Yeah, I suspect that he will. I'm just worried that if they're asking him to do those long routes, that he's going to be put in a position where they're going to tee off on him. Rocco P says, can Justin Coleman hold up against Adam Thielen? Mike, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I love Justin Coleman. He's a great player, and I definitely feel if he's matched up with Thielen that he's going to have a great game. He has proved it all year long that he is a sticky, feisty cornerback, and I think he will do just fine against Thielen, in my opinion.
Okay, I mean, and I suspect that he would do fine against Thielen as well, as long as he don't. Thielen has a very slick way of getting you to believe that he's going to do a route that he's not. I think he would be fine against it as well, and I think that would fix it in terms of taking away a person. Coleman has been playing better and better, and that's what we want to see, improvement. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 12:46 Eastern Standard Time. I want to give you time to go get your beer, your peanuts, your pizza, your pretzels, your hoagies, whatever your game day food of choice is today. I want to give you a chance to get it. And so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close the show out. We'll give everybody their final thoughts. Also, make sure you hit that like button if you're heading out. And we will have the post game. Again, the post game will be directly after the game on Micro Mike's channel. So make sure you subscribe to him. Hit that notification bell because when it goes down, it goes down. If things go great, you'll hear a different tone in Luke G's voice. If they go bad, you're certainly going to hear a different tone in their voice. So make sure that you are, what do I want to use? You are making sure you're hitting that like button, that notification, that subscribe button. Mike, final thoughts, sir.
Folks, appreciate you guys taking the time for the pregame show. This is a big game. We got to get that W. I'm not doing play-by-play because I am doing my new show. It is Monday through Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, and it is all Detroit Lions calls Lions Daily. It's the pilot week. I am testing it out this week to see if it does well. If it does well, I'm going to keep going with it forward. So please, in the post-game show, join us. Win, lose, or draw, we are going to be talking about it, as well as Monday. Join me for my new show, Lions Daily. That said, folks, see you in a little bit. Adios.
All right, baseball, fine. I hope I said that right. Says, cool show. Where do I find a Discord channel? You simply go to any of my videos. This is Luke G. You go to any of my videos, and it's in all my videos description. You just click that link and join the group, and we'll be in there talking sports. I'm sure of it. So people, please make sure you get in there. I know Micro Mike is in there. I know 313 J Mo in there. Drew, I think you joined already, right? Or you haven't joined?
If I have, I'm not active in it.
Yeah, but we're in there, so you'll be able to chat with us and talk. So it's on my channel. You'll be able to see it there. Drew, final thoughts.
It's going to be a hard-fought game today. Win, lose, or draw is going to be very entertaining for both teams. It's going to be a very close game. It's probably going to be a little bit sloppy and blue collar, but that's the way we like our football. Great show, great talks, great topics. Above the Rim is back Monday night, 8 o'clock. So be sure to join that. It is going to be the last one before NBA tip-off. So we got not only Pistons content, but we will be talking NBA in general. So it'll be a good show for all the basketball fans out there. Well, that's all I got for you guys. We'll see you guys in the pregame.
Absolutely. Now I'm seeing some questions from people who are asking about the live broadcast. Mike will not be doing a live broadcast today. If you want to see one that's going to be good, go on over there to Dose of Dion and check out his live broadcast. But Mike won't be doing it today. My final thoughts is this. Appreciate everybody for coming into the chat. Make sure you spread the word about the Detroit Sports Alliance, and word of mouth is the greatest publicity. Let me be clear. We are not searching for money. We are not searching for fame. We are searching for the ability to grow this community, and that happens with you guys and you ladies to go out there And whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, whether you are on Twitter, whether you are on Twitch, whatever, and let people know about the DSA and get them over here. And that's what we're looking for. Also, just want to let you guys know we appreciate all that you do. Make sure that you stay tuned with us because we have so much more coming and we'll be bigger and better. And as always, I like to end the show with a positive note. If today is as bad as you think it is, we'll wait for tomorrow it gets better because there is no such thing as always being down. We may fall, we may trip, we may stumble, but the race does not end with a small hiccup. It is just the beginning for the bigger climb to the top. Remember those wise words, ladies and gentlemen. Be blessed, be safe, and as always, don't be no chump. Subscribe to the DSA and make sure you please do your research. We are out.